we go again?
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the bridge. Dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews with connections in mind. How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World is the third film in the How to Train Your Dragon film franchise, and once again features the residents of Berk, a society where humans and dragons live together in harmony, and they are led by our heroes Hiccup and Toothless. And once again, we see our dragon-loving community under threat by a group of dragon poachers who wish to capture all of their dragons and create a dragon army for themselves. But more than that, there is a hunter among them who has killed all of the other Night Furies in the world, save for Toothless, who is believed to be the last of his kind. However, that belief is shattered when the Toothless discovers a female of his kind, who is once dubbed a Light Fury. And this, therefore, this feature focuses on the relationship between Toothless and this female Night Fury, and the residents of Berk trying to defeat this hunter and this army of poachers and save their dragons and their community. Now, this video review will contain spoilers of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, as well as certain other films. There will be a full list in the description below. And if you have not seen How to Train Your Dragon 3 yet, or any of the films listed below, and want to wait until you have, stop the video at this point and come back later, or you can skip to after my spoiler-filled analysis, skip to this point in the video, and I'll be doing my spoiler-free review of this film after all that's said and done. Now, with all that said, without further ado, let's get into some spoiler-filled analysis of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. Now, this movie features, as I said before, the Toothless, who is believed to be the last of the Night Furies, finding another one of his kind, a female, who's dubbed a Light Fury, and they, of course, hit it off nicely. And this movie focuses on them getting to know one another, trying to develop chemistry with one another, and saving each other from certain death. This has been seen in the past. An example of a film that does a similar thing, I would say, is The Dark Crystal, in which Jen the Gelfling believes he is the last of his kind, and when he sets off on his quest, he discovers a female Gelfling who they find out. They bond and they set off on this quest together, and they end up becoming a couple by the movie's end at that point. This movie also features an antagonist, namely the hunter who has killed all the previous Night Furies, and he wants to. He also has a posse of dragons, a species of which we've never encountered before, with deadly venom and acid breath for one, and a large stinger, it would seem, on their tails. And it is pointed out in the course of the movie that this hunter wants to kill all dragons, yet he uses these dragons and he brainwashes these dragons using their own mind control venom. And this reminded me of the plot, William Stryker's plot in X2 X-Men United, where he wanted to kill all the mutants in the world, but he also employed a number of mutant soldiers in his employ who were brainwashed using secretions from his own mutant son, who was a powerful telepath. So there's another comparison. And finally, there's a comparison to be made here in this film's climax or conclusion when Hiccup is faced with the choice of keeping Toothless around in the community or doing what's best for Hiccup or Toothless and all of the other dragons and letting them go off and live in the hidden world where they can live in peace and away from the humans of the world who want to kill them. And there's a very emotional scene at the end where Hiccup essentially says goodbye to Toothless and lets him go off and be with his own kind. This has been done in a lot of different movies with human and animal compatriots. The example I could think of was Hidalgo, where at the end of everything that's said and done with that between Viggo Mortensen's character and his horse Hidalgo, it is said during in that film that the Mustang breed of the horse is a dying breed, or is being a hunted breed close to extinction, and the U.S. is actively killing these horses because they're the primary horses of the Native American population. However, when Viggo Mortensen's character saves a herd of these Mustang horses, he allows Hidalgo to go off and be with his own kind, and there's an emotional scene at the end of that film as well, where he says goodbye, and the film ends with Hidalgo being with his own kind at that point. So those are my main points of comparison with between How to Train Your Dragon 3 and films that have come before it. Now let's get into my spoiler-free analysis or review for those who've skipped to this point in the video. The question is, should you go see How to Train Your Dragon 3, and is it worth seeing? Is it a worthy conclusion to this film franchise? I would say yes. I would say this is definitely a serviceable final entry to this series. I would say a lot of film trilogies often have trouble sticking the landing, and they sometimes fall into the trap of doing the same thing over and over again. And I feel like this movie did very little of that. I feel like it did a little bit where they kind of repeat the character arc of having to do without the humans have to learn how to do without their dragons and how to save their dragons, which is essentially the plot of the second film. However, this film does focus mainly on the character of Toothless and how he's becoming more and more involved with this light fury, and Hiccup as a character who is becoming a man. He's working to be the chief of this village of Burke, and what that means in relation to being a man and having to shoulder responsibility on your own, and when to accept the help of others, and also his complicated feelings towards Astrid. And this movie has a lot of heart going with it, and as with all of the How to Train Your Dragon films, the animation is gorgeous. I'll just say that right off the bat. I kind of wish that they could have extended a few of the flying scenes like they did in the second film. I thought that was stupendous how they did that. I feel like there were great flying sequences in this film as well. However, I feel like they were edited a little closer than I feel like they should have. That's just a personal nitpick on my part. Otherwise, I would say there's very little to diss about this film. If I was going to diss anything, I would say the supporting characters of this film tend to be pushed to the side a little bit too much. Especially Hiccup's mother, who we met in the second film. She has very little to do in this installment. She has, I believe, 3 or 4 scenes with maybe a couple lines of dialogue apiece, and I feel like she's just kind of there. Also, the Hiccup's posse of younger dragon riders, like the original gang from the first film. I feel like they were present, and they did have sort of mini arcs of their own. However, I don't think that this film did enough with them. I feel like they were just kind of there also. Also, the one who I can't remember the name of, his leering after Hiccup's mother was borderline uncomfortable in many instances. It's only in a couple scenes, but that was one that did not really need to be there, in my opinion. Other than that, these are very minor nitpicks overall. I would say that the film does not dwell too long on these troublesome characters or scenes. It puts its focus exactly where it needs to be, namely on Hiccup and Toothless and their quest and how their friendship is evolving over these years. And I'd say the ending of this film, it made me a little nervous in one instance near the end. However, I think it pulls it together quite nicely, and this is definitely a fitting end to this trilogy. They may make another How to Train Your Dragon. I have no idea what that would look like, but if I were Hollywood, I would implore Hollywood, I should say, to just leave it at 3. And it's a good trilogy. I think all of these films are stupendous. This one ends it quite nicely. So there you have it. There's my review of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. What did you think of this film? Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you watched my analysis, what did you think of that? Did I mess something up? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next review, movie review, which will be for Captain Marvel, which comes out March 8th. And also, if you're interested on my channel, I'm doing a reaction series to each and every episode of Season 2 of The Orville and Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. I've just posted reactions for the latest episodes of those on my channel, so go check those out if you're interested. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate my audience, but just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.